Blitzers, welcome back to the channel. Muffin here. I have a subscriber request. I did a map guide for Copperfield. Now I've got one subscriber request for Yukon. So going right in, Yukon has a lot of different advantageous positions that you can really get yourself in depending on the type of tank you are, and it's key in terms of also where your teammate is. Your team is also positioned. So first position right here, great for a tank destroyer behind the bush. You can see just some visibility on where lights. Other medium tanks typically try to cross over, getting up on that hill. That can give you an advantageous shot on them. Also right here as well. Another great spot, a secondary place to continue moving up as your team is pushing up, or even trying to move up to get eyes. As like a heavy tank moving more toward like a center position of the map can be a really good spot in getting any sort of shots on enemies going across. Lots of lighter medium tanks that have more speed, maneuverability can get themselves either up on over these hills, especially those that have excellent gun depression and great turret armor. Things that you can just peek out, try to use your view range, detect some of the tank destroyers that could be on the enemy side. Over on that side of the map can be very helpful. Want to make sure you're not detected. Use this rock here for crossing over to protect yourself from that left-hand side. If you've got a great turret, this can be an excellent position as well. Also using gun depression for detecting any tank destroyers, tanks that could be over there on that way as well. And then down here along in the valley area, and the low points here on this side is a bit risky because you do need higher ground support. But here could be also another advantageous position for a tank destroyer. You can see some of the advantage angles that you can have from being there. And these bushes also do help increase your camo efficiency and rating as well. So going down even into the low points of the valley can be an advantageous place to be, but you have to have teammates also in that high ground area for support, because you can get some good snapshots down here as other light tanks are crossing down or even going over trying to get to the other side of the map. Even then, so going from here at the beginning and starting over, if you were to come down this way, if your team is primarily pushing center, or you can even go right here is a good place behind this bush as a tank destroyer to kind of get that visibility downrange. Or if you're like a medium light tank, you can try to go over here using this bush to use some visibility and range over to your right, and then use that this building to protect you off to the left. If there's not a lot going over here on the right, you can use this bush to advance to, and then kind of peek around, see what's going on before making your advancement down a little bit further to go continually kind of around the map. So that's taking it from one side that can give you some good ideas of advantageous positions as you're progressing, advancing on the enemy, and how to go about that. Now coming from this angle of the map, you also have this bush right here, which can be great for a tank destroyer. Getting those shots from across the way, you can see any light medium tanks that come up on that ridge line, you can get shots. Looking downrange here, any tanks coming up through the center, you can get some good shots off as well. Going down, this is a little bit more common, but as mentioned, some tank destroyers typically coming up from around these points. Definitely have to be careful. So when coming up here with the tank destroyer, just got to be really careful, because if you get detected and you're too far up or open, you can get quite wiped out if they have medium or lights that know what they're doing. Also, once again, going over here from this side of the map, if you're a lighter medium tank, good gun depression, good turret armor, you can peek up right over here, get some good shots. Crossing over, use that rock, be on the left side of it for protection. You can easily see kind of down there to get some more advantageous shots off the enemy if there's some others coming over. And then going back down, just cruising through, so light medium tanks could come down this way. Water does slow you down, so staying in kind of the areas where the ground itself is definitely helps out. And then when moving up, here as a heavy tank or even a light, medium tank in terms of spotting if your heavy tanks are going to the opposite side of the map. If you're a heavy tank, this is also a pretty good place. You can kind of peek up over here if you're a medium tank. Once again, positioning is really key in terms of where your team is as well, hopefully doing their job. And then going over here on the other side of the map, if your team is also kind of pushing up along this area as well. Actually, no, wrong way. This is, more of the center of the map, which you could put yourself there as like a medium light tank just coming up on that hill, but just got to be careful because you are open from left or right here. But as a tank destroyer, your first advancement point, even though this is a little bit further back, you have a bush here that gives you some view range kind of across the field. Like I said, a little further back, but this part right here behind this bush is a tank destroyer. Could potentially be pretty good, get some snapshots down here. As a light or medium tank, you're fast enough, you can actually get up to this point and really put enemy tanks, if there's heavy tanks or anyone else coming through. Now that is solid. I know sometimes wood can sometimes get shot out and get shot through, but that you're actually pretty secure. Here's another bush, more of like a secondary move up location for like a tank destroyer, giving you that visibility downrange and giving you these logs here to also protect you. Here is kind of a first advancement position for like a tank destroyer if moving over here on the left hand side, and then kind of just vice versa here in coming up. If you are from over on this side as well and your team is either advancing more to the left side of the map or even up the center, once again, you can use these little ridge lines here, just to peek up, use your gun depression, just peek your turret up, kind of look around, see what's going on. As your team advances, you can advance through here as your heavy tanks move. There's some great areas for side scraping and so forth. So anyway, hope these tips help in terms of the map in general. There's a lot to go over, but this is the muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.